everybody, it's Bucky with Top Dollar Home Offer. We buy houses, Tulsa, and we help homeowners who say, I need to sell my house fast. So what does that have to do with Breaking Debt series? Well, not only do we help people when they say, I need to sell my house fast because we buy houses, we want to offer solutions to you to help you get back on the road to prosperity, or just get out of that frustration cycle that you may be in with debt and budgeting and all those things. So we had put together a whole series of different videos talking about mindset and getting right spiritually and creating a budget and seeing where your money went. And then if you had debt, we did a couple different videos on talking about how to pay that debt off quickly. So now you're armed, now you're on the right track. Let's talk about how to apply both the fundamental and the technical together with the mindset as well. So that's what this series is going to conclude up with, is fundamentally, right? How to stay on track. So you've taken the time to, one, understand your spending habits. Okay? That's the first thing you have to do. Understand those. That tells you where your heart's at and knows where you're spending the money. That tells you where your priorities are and what you need to change. So after you analyze those and you put them into a budget, now you can make intelligent decisions on what's important and what you can change. And these are temporary changes. I mean, the goal here is to, one, get out of debt, right? So the next main area is, if you have debt, how to free up money in your budget to apply to that debt. We saw how powerful that was to freeing up even just $100. That can take you from 25 months of debt down to 16 just with that $100. And by applying the debt snowball that Dave Ramsey always talks about. So you want to debt and then debt snowball it. Okay? Meaning that you want to pay your lowest debts off first, the lowest amounts that you owe first, to the highest, and then taking that amount that you were paying to each debt and applying it further on. So you may start with a $50 payment with $100, so that's $150 the next debt. You may add $200, so that's $400 if it's $250 plus $150 is $400. So it compounds to pay off your debt, right? So you're using that power to pay off debt faster. So now, how do we apply these things to the everyday life? What are some important milestones that you need to constantly stay in touch with, check yourself on? So you've got a budget, you've got your debt plan. Now, how are you going to direct that money? So every month, you need to have a monthly budget review, okay? So if you have a family or a spouse or a significant other or whatever, you guys need to check yourself each month before you enter into the next month. We talked about when you get paid, how that's structured into your budget sheet. You want to make sure that you're not overspending in any areas that you have a budget for, right? Because if you overspend, then you're taking money away from a certain area that you allocated it to. So another important part about that budget is, in your monthly budget meeting, you want to put every dollar in a place, okay? And how do you do that? So applying what you understood about your spending habits to your budget and to your goal to pay off debt, if you have excess, hopefully you do, after you wrench down the budget, you can say, hey, this month I'm expecting to have $100 left over that I'm going to apply to my debt. So in your budget sheet that we put together on Google Sheets, which makes it so easy to use, you have $0 left out of that paycheck, because any extra dollars, you're taking that to your debt snowball, right? If that's your goal. So how do you manage all those different places for your money? So Dave Ramsey's a great guy about debt, okay? He talks about using envelopes with cash. And this is tough. Like if you've been using bank cards and you switch over to cash, he talks about this a lot, how painful it is to hand over a Benjamin, Benjamin or $100 bill, whatever you want to call it, and you pay for something and you only get a Jackson back or less, right? You're taking that Benjamin to the coffin and he's not coming back. There's a bigger pain in paying with cash. Some people don't like to walk around with cash. That's fine. Another strategy that people often use is they have checking accounts assigned for bills and spending, right? So you could have 2 or 3 different checking accounts where you have your money auto deposited into. So you could have one for auto expenses, and you could lump these together. So that helps you when you budget not to spend more out of that account than you should. So if you have an account set up for vehicle expenses, spending expenses, you can have multiple savings accounts too. So those long-term expenses that you're saving up for in your budget, like house repairs, car repairs, health, if you don't have an HSA account, those can be automated too. So you're actually able to transfer money into checking accounts, from savings accounts to checking accounts, and so forth. So that's how important it is. So once you know the different areas that you spend money in, then assign them different accounts. That way it keeps everything separate, or you can use the envelope system if you want to. It's really up to you. I prefer using different checking accounts or savings accounts. That way I know that money's there. Some people are very good about having everything in one account. That's fine too. It's really up to you, but if you want that separation and know that, hey, this bank card is for my car expenses and gas and things like that, then when you go pay at the pump, you just use that card. This is my eating out in grocery account. So if you eat out, the first 5 days of your pay period, and you have no money left, then it's pretty apparent when you look at that account. So if you had everything lumped into one account, then you may try to take money away from your Christmas savings or your house savings. That's why it's important to have that pain of a zero balance in that account if you overspend. So these are some simple fundamental techniques that you can use to force yourself to budget, right? Meaning that, hey, I have a checking account at this bank that this is our food money, right? And then I have a spending account that I can spend whatever it's not accounted for. Like I budget $200 a month that I can spend on whatever, and I don't have to account for it, right? That's your free money, right? In other words. Or we have, $1,000 a year in auto repair expenses, from tires to oil changes to pop-up expenses that always happen on vehicles. Then you have that money set aside in an account. And then you have your emergency fund. So all those things are applied to each other here. So that's why it's fundamentally important to understand each of these steps and how to apply them all together. When you do that, you're going to have success. And then you want to make sure to have a clear goal on your budget meeting, right? Why are you doing this? Something has to be a trigger inside you that says, man, this is important. This is important. I don't want my kids to grow up hearing me say, I don't have any money. What are we going to eat today? Because we don't have any money. So what is your biggest pain in all this? And change that into an important goal for you to establish that you're going to get out of that, right? We're not going to be in this cycle the rest of our life. Setbacks happen, right? Things happen. So when you do have a setback, go back and start over, right? Say you were making $100,000 a year or $50,000 a year, and that got cut in half, right? What do you need to do? Well, if you have a bunch of debt, then you need to start getting rid of stuff, right? Change your spending habits. See where your money's going. So the cool thing about having no debt, once you get all these silly debts paid off, then how much money do you really need to live on, right? How much does it really cost you to live on a month? So even though you go from $100,000 to $50,000, it may change your priorities, but can you live on $50,000? Can you live on $20,000 if you divide that out for, shelter? And that includes gas, electric, and water, and then food, and then God, right? We're always going to give our tithe. Okay? Other than that, what else matters, right? If you have a place to give to God, if you have a shelter, a home to stay in that keeps you warm and cool, and if you have food in your belly, you're good. All these other things in life we can cut out if we have to, okay? So if you have a loss of income, you're able to reapply the principles. Go back and look where you're spending your money. Export out your bank accounts. Prioritize them, put them in categories. Figure out what you need to cut, what you need to cut out. Or put that goal ahead of you and say, hey, yeah, I got a setback here, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to find a better job, or I'm going to create new income. It's incredibly easy to use a talent today to generate more income. Read. When in doubt, read more books. Mentor. Find a mentor. We help people that want to get into real estate. So if you're interested in getting into real estate, give us a call. So not only do we buy houses, but we help people break this cycle. If you're in this situation and you want out, then give us a call. We help homeowners when they say, I need to sell my house fast. We buy houses Tulsa, and we help them not only getting out of the debt cycle, but giving them a step ahead. Sometimes when we buy houses, people just need a downsize, right? Maybe you did have a $100,000 income and you had a house that you want to sell and you want to, reduce your living expenses, your shelter. You can do that. We help people out that way as well. So it doesn't really matter what you're facing. Just regroup, replan, work the plan, write the plan, then work the plan. It's same things every month. Budget, understand your budget, have a meeting, make sure you're on track for your goals. If you had a crisis situation, then readjust. Don't get down in pity and wallow around in the hole. Readjust, rewrite your plan, refocus, and just go through these steps. So I hope you enjoyed this Breaking Debt series. If you have other questions, you can sign up for one of our online classes. We're happy to help you. Remember, Tulsa and Metro, we buy houses. And if you need to sell your house fast, then give us a call.